Okay, so you can expect questions from, basically you can expect questions from Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, then Kastuba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya, Sakshat Bharat, Sabla and STEP. So basically these are the questions where you can study, because this is all the questions on education where they will talk about women empowerment. So there will be questions on Beti Bachao, and you have to remember there will, and Beti Padhao. Okay, there will be Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, then Kasturba Gandhi Balika, all the questions which year was it there, when was it done, when was the inception, Vidyalaya, so Vidyalaya. Okay, then you have Sakshat Bharat, which I've already explained in the previous classes. Then we have Sabla and STEP. Okay, so these are the very, very important government policies towards women empowerment which will be asked in your UPSC exams. Okay, so now let us start with a new chapter, which is government budgeting. So this is very important. So just let me clear this. Okay, so we will talk about is government. Yes, that is government. Okay, so first we have to know what is government budgeting and what is the role of government budgeting. So that is very, very important. Okay, so we will talk about is the role of the government in the economy. Okay, so first it the role of the government is to promote economic efficiency and growth. Second is for fair distribution of income through taxation. Okay, third is to provide a generous social security system, in a society. So that is also very, very important. Yes, we also have to strengthen the, as I said, also the institution. So to strengthen the institution. So all right, so there are 4 points if you can see on the screen, and India has embraced an economic model which features both the free market capitalism and socialism. So this policy makers, they decided that, if you study in history also, that they went for mixed economy. Okay, so let me tell you in detail why India has done this. Okay, so as I said, India has chosen a model which has both free market capitalism and also socialism, and this is called as I said, mixed economy. Now the reason for adopting such hybrid model was to raise people's standard of living and also reduce the income equality. So in free market capitalism, the standard of quality will also increase. At the same time, it will also reduce income inequality by way of using the socialism strategy. Okay, So that is why India embraced an economic model which is combined free market capitalism and also has a state intervention in essential sectors of the economy. So state is also interfering, and at the same time the market is also free. So the record of India's successive governments in providing the social welfare is very, very good actually. And the government was built a very good welfare state within a strong emphasis, So what the government should take care of, that is public health, education, then there must be equitable institutions, unemployment benefits, then old age pensions, etc. Okay, so in today's changing world also of high technology, the government must do something for the public, and job creation should happen, and globalization should happen. The government should share the risks arising out of globalization also. So I had also explained to you in the previous class, that skill development is very important. So education and skill development is very important, so that if we want high growth, we should also have a proper development. Okay, so that is the very, very important thing. So how can we achieve it? We can only achieve it by way of technological advancement through research and development. So R&D is very important, because that gives you the technology development only happens through research and development. That is why, if you can see, China has done so good. So state has to support this research and development through health and education, and also the state and the country has to embrace globalization and allow other new companies to have a free market, along with domestic institution also should be strong. Okay, so we should also adapt the new technology, and we should make our domestic market also so strong. So in China, what happens, even if the machines they are selling us, they are also very much using those machines. That is the thing. So the domestic market also should be very strong. So what are the functions of the government here? So here the function is, the government should allocate, the government should also distribute, and after distributing, the government should stabilize. So yes, stabilizing is very, very important. Okay, so the government should provide public goods and services which the private sector fails, so that it goes to the last section of the economy. Okay, and there should not be any rivalry also. So there we should understand what is private goods and public goods. Okay, so the private goods are generally in rival in nature, so there's a lot of competition, and something like any private good, it can be like a car, pen, mobile handset. So if I own a car, then that particular car is not available to any other person. So that is generally which is the difference of private good. But public good is something which is available for everybody, like bus service, railways, so it should have an individual, it should be a non-rival in nature, and consumption should not be for one individual, it should be for everybody. Okay, so the highways should be used for everybody, the railways should be used for everybody, buses. So I think you are understanding what I'm trying to tell you. So that is the difference between private goods and public goods. So this is the property right of an individual, private, and property rights are not for everybody, it's for everybody, it's not determined. That is under the public goods. Okay, so that is a free ridership, you can ride anytime, you can use those goods. There is no a permission required for public goods. But whereas in private goods, there is a free ridership is not possible. In fact, free is a situation which is not at all allowed in private goods. Okay, now coming to the distribution function, the government should do it by way of good taxation and expenditure. Okay, so the government should transfer the payments in such a way that the citizens should not be heavily taxed. Only the richest section should be taxed heavily. Okay, and there must be good pension scheme, there must be good health insurance schemes. Insurance schemes should also be there. So all these funds which the government is accumulating by way of tax should be again given back to the society who are deprived of these benefits. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to tell you. And there, now when you have finished that, the last part of the government is stabilization. So the economy tends to undergo periods of instability and fluctuations. It's going up and down. So the periods of fluctuations require the government to play an active role to see and watch and see that, how they can recover the economy. So they must be like a constant hawk. They should see that, where the cyclical fluctuations are happening. Okay, so if you can see now, let me give you an example, you'll understand this better. Okay, so the year, now let me give you an example. If you all remember the year 2008 and 9, which witnessed the global financial crisis. Okay, and what happened is the GDP was absolutely down. It came down and there was no employment. So no employment, huge recession. Okay, and yes, so what did the government do in this phase? So the government provided, if you remember, fiscal and monetary policies, which we have studied when we have studied about banks. So provided fiscal stimulus package for the industry. Okay, so this is very, very important. So how does it happen? So crisis starts, government gives the package. Okay, then the government sees how much is the demand, so that is the aggregate demand. Okay, and once the demand increases, income also increases. Now this portion you have to understand. So when there is a demand, what happens? Money comes in. Okay, and there is liquidity, everybody has money, so purchasing power of the people also increases, and when the purchasing power of the money increases, that is PPP, the income also increases. So I think you have understood by way of the flow chart. First there is crisis, the government repairs by giving government package, and then slowly the demand increases, money comes in the system, there is liquidity, and then there is purchasing power of the people, and hence the income increases. Now when income increases, employment also increases, and finally the recession is over. So this is the way that similarly the economy should also do it in such a way that one by one all the problems are solved. So that is very, very important. So now we will see that what kind of budgets the government does. Okay, so let me just clear this quickly. Okay, so yes, we will also see this, so by a drawing. So let me first draw what is this is government budget. Budget is like government is trying to prepare how much money it should spend on its economy, on its people, on its citizen. So there are two types of budget. Let us focus. So the first one is revenue budget, and the second one is capital budget. So under revenue budget we again have two things, that is revenue receipts and capital expenditure. Okay, same way in capital budget we have is capital receipts and capital expenditure. So this is very important. Now as I said, the revenue account. So what is a revenue account? So let me write down here. Revenue account shows the current receipts of the government and the expenditure that can be met from these receipts. Okay, so this is now revenue receipts are receipts of the government incomes which cannot be reclaimed back by the citizens from the government. So once the receipts come to the government, the citizens cannot say that we want back the receipts. So receipts is obviously an income. Okay, now how does the government get these receipts? So let us first understand this concept. Okay, then we will talk about is capital budget. Okay, so let us see one more drawing. Revenue. How does revenue receipts come? Let me just explain this to you. Okay, so first comes is tax revenue, and the second comes is non-tax revenue. Okay, so now in tax there are two types of tax. One is direct tax, okay, and the second is indirect tax. Okay, now what are the examples of direct tax? Let me give you example is income tax, then corporate tax, and indirect tax is something like excise and custom and service tax. Okay, now let us talk about non-tax revenue. So here we can talk about is the interest which the government receives. So interest payments, dividends which comes from the shares, profits from any companies, industries, or okay, then from the public sector units, so profits from the PSU, that is the public sector units. Okay, then any fees the government charges, and obviously fines. So yes, so this is the revenue which is generated by the thing. Now revenue expenditure is income by the government that neither creates a physical or financial asset. It reduces the liability of the government. So the revenue expenditure relates the day-to-day functioning of the government, and revenue expenditure is expenditure for normal running of the government department and various services, then interest charges on debt incurred by government subsidies. Now what is subsidy? They are discounted price and so on. So examples I can give you, like these are the expenditure, like salaries of employees, interest payments on past debt, grants given to state governments, etc. So the expenditure under budget is divided into two heads. Okay, so now we spoke about receipts, now we speak about expenditure. Okay, so I will write it down here. As I said, revenue, expenditure, and as I said, it is divided into two heads. One is plan expenditure, okay, the second one is non-plan expenditure. Okay, so first we will see is plan expenditure. Now plan expenditure is, it relates to 5-year plans and also the central assistance for state plans. So because states also have a lot of plans, and the centers